No, it's actually the reason, and Michael, I assume the reason you're asking, I mean, it's a very important question because it really does go to, I think, your point, which is this court decision it's a case that proves too much. The argument that's being made in the case is that basically the state can encroach on any religious behavior whatsoever so long as it doesn't encroach on religious opinion. And that's the problem with the case in and of itself. And I think that the point that you're making, Michael, is that people who use this case as a case against the exercise of religious freedom in the public square in terms of action are the same people, in large part, who are saying that the state has no right to regulate, for example, gay marriage, which is a completely illogical position. So you have to believe that either the state has to make provision and make room for religious liberty in exercise, or you have to believe that the state has the power to basically compel whatever behavior it seeks so long as it doesn't affect opinion.
Okay. Now, I think we've made everything clear here. Let me assure you that the issue of same-sex marriage is going to return. So we will be able to readdress. The government have the power to regulate your religious behavior if the government feels that it violates its morality. That's really the central conflict that we're talking about here. And the problem is that as the government decides that it can regulate particular behaviors, and this is the point that I was making at the very beginning, as the government decides it can regulate particular behaviors, the sphere of religious liberty is going to shrink to exactly what Chief Justice Waite said there. It's going to shrink smaller and smaller and smaller until the only thing that you can do, religiously speaking, is think about your religion and maybe pray in your own home.
Well, so you're attributing that to Waite, but it's what Thomas Jefferson said, and I say that not because Thomas Jefferson wasn't in fact a deity, but to call attention to the fact that this conversation goes way back in America's history. We have struggled with it for an incredibly long time, and if you look, for example, at this opinion, what Waite did say is he talks about the government being able to regulate behavior that is relevant to social duties and order.
Which is a malleable term, and this is why I think both Jefferson and Waite are wrong.
Let me just break in. I think you're being slightly paranoid. I don't know who you're talking about. In America, you can change your religion. You can have no religion. You can. Do they smoke peyote? You can smoke peyote as a religious right. For goodness sakes, man. Move to Egypt.
But I can't open a flower shop, can I?
Move to Pakistan. Move to Saudi Arabia. Then you can complain. And I, for one, think America is a fantastic country. And you know, as a liberal, right, that's what you say about me.
No, I think you're a leftist.
And most liberals are self-hating Americans, right? I love America, and I teach American religion. And I will stand up for what we have built.
But you'll shut down my business if I don't serve a cake to a gay couple.
As a great culture with great religious liberty.
But you will shut down my business if I don't serve a cake to a gay wedding.
Pardon me?
But you'll shut down my business if I don't serve a cake to a gay wedding.
I can assure you we'll be getting to shutting down business.
Give me an example.
As a result.
Give me an example.
I'll give you an example of
that example. That exact example.
Just a second. Yeah, we will have those some examples coming up. But follow-up, Dr. Wellman, you just said Ben shouldn't complain because we're not Egypt or Saudi Arabia. Wouldn't it be a good idea?
Right.
Wouldn't it be a good idea to, in the preservation of liberty, to have a heated debate about the nature of those rights? Because the same argument could be made for any given homosexual couple or any given far-left couple or any non-Muslim faith in the United States that they don't live in Egypt or Saudi Arabia either, so therefore they shouldn't complain.
Well, you know, all right. Yeah, but I don't think we have...
I thought that liberals were the complainers.
Pardon me?
I thought liberals were the complainers in this country.
I don't know. Dr. Wellman brought up the idea that Ben shouldn't speak out because...
No, you know, I love the fact that Ben is controversial, and he does well because he is controversial. That's why we like to hear him. But let's get to the facts a little bit. You know, religious rights and religious liberties are not being compacted in America. You know, but let me go back to what Michael asked.
Can you answer the example that I gave earlier?
The case of polygamy. I think that was wrongly decided.
You think so? You actually agree with me that a shop should be allowed to reject service to a gay wedding?
I think it's an interesting question. Is it a
Why
public?
Is that an interesting question?
Wait,
Why is that
wait.
clear-cut?
You like to interrupt. It's a public for-profit business. And I think there is non-discrimination should go on there, and they should not be allowed to discriminate against gay people.
So in other words,
yes, I agree with that.
Gentlemen,
Yeah.
wait. Hold the thought. I assure you, we will have a specific example that we'll be getting to later on that, so I'm drawing the line. Save those thoughts for later. And as a follow-up to Valerie, I assure you, as a self-professed whiner, conservatives do a lot of complaining too, believe me. All right. In the Hobby Lobby case, which is expected to be handed down from the Supreme Court on Monday, the Obama administration seeks to enforce an ACA, the Affordable Care Act mandate, that would compel owners, Barbara and David Green, to provide certain kinds of what they consider to be abortifacient birth control. Is the Obama administration infringing on the rights of these business owners? Hold it. Valerie, would you like to launch us off on that?
I'd love to, because our system of jurisprudence for
pay for insurance they do not choose to pay for. There's nothing preventing someone from getting health insurance that covers abortions or abortifacients or anything else.
And this is sort of the point, I think, is that when you look at the word imposition is being thrown around a lot. Imposition. That people are imposing their beliefs on others. There's only one group in this country that is using the government to impose their beliefs on others at the point of a gun, and that is not Hobby Lobby. Hobby Lobby is involved in a consensual relationship between the employer and the employee. Churches are involved in consensual relationships between themselves and their constituents. The government is not involved in a consensual relationship when it tells a business that it will revoke its license, and it will come to their front door if they remain open, and it will forcibly shut down their business. There's only one person and one group that is coming to the party here with a gun. And the only group, I mean, you said conservatives love guns. Liberals love guns far more. They just love guns that are being used by the government against conservatives.
Let me, Dr. Wellman, let me add something to the conversation, because it's very much related.
Can I get in?
Absolutely, but it's related, so you'll be able to jump in right afterward, no problem. The Little Sisters of the Poor, a religious order of women devoted to caring for needy elderly people, now face the possibility of millions of dollars in fines unless they give, in a similar situation, unless they provide for their employees free coverage for sterilization, contraception, and what they see as abortion-inducing drugs. Should government be able to compel these women to act in violation of their convictions?
Is this the Hobby Lobby case?
Well, there's Hobby Lobby as well, and I'm adding the Little Sisters to the mix.
I think we're making a mountain out of a molehill. Okay, bear with me. So there's, I think, 25 types of contraception that this insurance covers. And I believe in the case there's 4 that are problematic for Hobby Lobby. This could be simply dealt with and solved with the government simply saying, yeah, we understand. We'll pay for those 4. Solved. Okay, so let's just get over ourselves. I mean, come on. And if they don't do that, they're dumb.
They're dumb.
Yeah.
They haven't done that. By the way, I don't think, Ben, that's a perfectly, in other words, for people, rather than suing Hobby Lobby and compelling them to pay for the abortifacients, if President Obama wanted
that their employees would choose like they would.
The question in Hobby Lobby is whose freedom is being infringed upon. Employees' freedom is not infringed upon when they enter into a consensual relationship with an employer that includes certain types of health care.
Not consensual.
Of course it is. They can quit. Who is forcing them? Where is the gun? Huh? Where is the gun? Who is forcing them? Where is the chain? Who is locking them to their desk?
Stop with the gun language.
The reason that I use the gun language is because it is vitally important for people to understand that every government measure at the end of the day it must be compelled by force. That's what government measures are for. There is a vast difference, a huge difference in terms of personal liberty and freedom between the government compelling behavior and a company saying that we are not going to provide certain types of coverage, and if you don't like that, you can quit or buy your own coverage. There's a vast difference. The gun's the whole issue.
Health insurance is an earned benefit. It's not given for free to employees. They earn it. Should your employer be able to decide how you spend your money?
Hold up.
Hold on. Earned, 1 second. Earned from whom? Okay, I may think that I earn twice the salary that I get from this radio station. That doesn't mean that I have an earned benefit from the radio station for twice what they're willing to pay me. It's always a consensual relationship.
You pay for your health care?
Well, first of all, I do because it was negotiated in the contract that I signed, in which I voluntarily engaged. And if I don't like that, I can quit tomorrow.
I think...
And let me say...
Michael, let me just introduce a third case. They're all related. It'll be just fine. There's a similar case still in the courts from Washington State where the State Pharmacy Board, after initially allowing for religious exemptions, came under pressure from former Governor Gregoire to mandate that pharmacies and pharmacists provide Plan B regardless of religious convictions. That act was widely seen as targeting Ralph's Thriftway in Olympia and its owner, Kevin Stormans. Two individual pharmacists also felt that providing Plan B would violate their religious freedoms. They're also involved in the suit. Was the State Pharmacy Board correct in trying to compel Ralph's Pharmacy, despite the fact that there were multiple pharmacies within a short time that were offering the same thing, or the thing that was requested, Plan B?
Obviously, it's outrageous. And so much of this is outrageous. And I want to go back to a point that Ben has made, and has made so wonderfully forcefully.